All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
We want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. It's the brothers here from Great Millstone, Atlanta. Yeah, we have a lesson entitled Traps Build Spiritual Growth.
Okay.
As brothers in the truth, you'll go through your course, your crash course in this faith. And, some brothers actually experience a lot more traps, snares, a lot more entanglements than other brothers. And, your first initial reaction is you feel like you will F up, everything you do, it seems like you're just always getting led into a pitfall, and you always have to climb out of the murky hole, dirty. You got to clean yourself up just to fall into something else, and it gets so, I would say, redundant or monotonous that you feel like you might be getting picked on, or the Lord is actually setting you up to get kicked out, or you start to, be in your head about certain things, but a lot of times you initially don't know what's going on and the reason why you're going through a lot of these things. But it's a positive side. It's a positive side to adversity, and us brothers have to totally rewire how we think about life and how we go about. Because you watch certain people, certain celebrities or entrepreneurs, businessmen, and these $30 million houses, $50 million houses, and their lives seem so glamorous. And then when you see your personal life and you reflect on what you go through and what you have been through to even get to that point, you be like, you feel somewhat defeated. But the Lord doesn't deal with us how he deals with the people of the world. The Lord deals with us on a spiritual level. And the scriptures speak about how everything that we go through is Romans 15:4, whatsoever is brought upon thee is for our learning. So everything is a learning lesson, whether you fall, whether you go through certain things that might turn around and bite you with an ass. If you remain in the faith, it's to fuel you and help you grow and build forward and progress in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah.
Okay.
And we're going to go into certain scriptures, of course, to drive home the points of men that we look at, in respectful regards, men that are, in the Hall of Fame of righteousness, okay, that experience a lot of things in their route to salvation, and they had to go through a lot of things that they initially didn't want to go through. It wasn't a fun and pleasant for a lot of prophets. Most prophets weren't just on their high horse, and just getting hors d'oeuvres, as the people know as hors d'oeuvres, or the delicacies of whatever kingdom they're in, just dropped in their mouths. They were going through dirty and grimy situations to get to the retrieve the elect, or grow, or elevate, or do what the Lord actually required them to do. So of course, without further ado, we'll jump straight into it. Yeah, Ecclesiastes.
This Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 13. It says, "And I gave my heart to seek and search out wisdom."
Go, you can start at 12.
12, all right. Verse 12, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 12. "I, the preacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem."
Right.
So I'm speaking on Yahushua.
That's
like
that's
King Solomon.
King Solomon, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Which he was known as the preacher,
Okay.
because the words that he would teach was so lively, so to speak. He would preach, or another word for preacher is a teacher. His proverbs and the wisdom that he expounded unto men were so profound. He was known as the preacher, of course.
Okay.
Continue.
Verse 13. "I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath the Most High given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith."
That's heavy. It says, so first off, he's going into the fact that he had to search and seek out wisdom, which searching and seeking out wisdom is not an easy thing itself. It tells you in the the prologue of Sirach, how it was laborsome. It was a strenuous task. It took time. It took abundance of energy. It was tiresome to the point where he actually retrieved all that wisdom. And then he had to compile it. They had to get a scribe to write it down, make sure that it was aligned, of course, with the prophecies and everything in the spirit. Make sure everything is everything. That type of work is not easy. These tasks, even to come up with the book as we know as the Bible, it wasn't just written down, of course, like a literature book, but for these words to be sealed and etched and canonized, these men had to go through a lot to be confirmed in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
God.
Of course, if you brothers, have anything you want to add to it, you get into it. But the one thing I did want to say, which that point, this sore travail, can you read that part over this?
It says, "This sore travail hath the Most High given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith."
Right. So we have our exercise base, which is wisdom, and the word exercise goes into basically being tried out. Just like when you're in a gymnasium, you don't know your full capacity, your strength capacity. You don't know your full stamina. You don't know your duration. You don't know your agility.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know any of these things until you're put to a particular test.
Mm-hmm.
Like football players, whether you run like a 4.0.
The combine. Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, the combine. It's a measure of talent. It's a measure of abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Or even when you beginning, a new sport or whatever, it's your first time playing it, you actually have to do the tryouts to learn what position, that your best position.
Mm-hmm.
You got it right.
And just like I said, we being exercised. So when you're going through this particular training, the Lord, makes you go through certain things so that you can see what level you're on too. Mm-hmm. And that's why, brothers, when you go through pitfalls and traps, you actually can reflect and know your level. Brothers can know their level in this truth, whether you're a brother that's inexperienced in certain particulars and brothers that's experienced. How do you know? By certain things that you swiftly get past, and some things you just mess up in.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you take what they call bar exams or quizzes back in school, you would take the the different subject matters, and some you cleaning through it. Some on you be like,
you got your weak points.
Yeah, you be like, well, let me just pick C.
Yeah.
You might erase it. Like, what that question said again? Well, you just putting certain things down, and then you start just putting, you just start zigzagging on the paper, just trying to see, maybe I can get one on right, and then you get a F in that. Mm-hmm. You get an F in that arena, then they might make you have to retake the test. Mm-hmm. You see? So you start to see like, okay, I'm good in math, or I'm good in biology. I'm good in this, I'm good in that. I suck at this. So what happens when you're at that point? Now you have to go to the nerd, or you have to go to somebody that's experienced in that particular fashion and learn from him to see how to actually score better or get more experience and where you fall weak at, your shortcomings, you see? Mm-hmm. So that's another important aspect of the traps that you'll go through and how to react when you fall down. You have to know, you have to fall down. That's the thing, you have to go through these things. Because it builds growth. You got it. But you have to know where you're weak at so that you can actually have that opportunity to build growth. You can get that what you had, and we'll go back.
Okay, kind of just a quick one just to back up the brother's point. It's 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves, know ye not your own selves, that Yahweh Shah is in you, except ye be reprobates. So like the brother is speaking on, you have to, the only way that you can examine yourself, is actually being tried, man. Mm-hmm. Going through the experiences, man. You can't examine yourself if you're not going through the motions, man. Just sitting back, because you won't have nothing to examine, man. It's just basically just plain, just there. But if you're going through the trials and the tribulations, you're fighting, you're gaining your knowledge, and then that's when the wisdom comes into play through the experience, man.
Beautiful.
So with that being said, you actually have to learn, because the scriptures say a righteous man falls 7 times to get it back up again. That getting back up is examining yourself, man.
Mm-hmm. And then it's like, what did he fall into? He fell into traps and snares.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't just falling on nothing. Like that's as people say, that would be somebody that's actually retarded. You're tripping over yourself. No, you're falling into certain ditches that more than likely the enemy set out for you. Booby traps. The scripture says what? A woman's hearts are full of snares and nets. You know, a woman is known as a deep ditch in the scriptures.
Yeah.
So you have ditches, you have snares, you have entrapments, you have booby traps. You know, you have all these things around you, but you don't see things because a lot of jakes, you know, from initial reaction, you don't see those things from a spiritual aspect. But then you start, you know, as you grow in the spirit, you know, and learn, you be like, oh, dang, I didn't know that's a trap. You start to catch, oh, that's a trap. Now I got my eyes open. Now, it was just comical, but Dave Chappelle, he had a stand-up, and he was talking about sticking your rod in the I forgot what he called the woman, the woman's trap. Her box was basically being a trap. He was like, you're going to do it one time, and he's like, you're going to mess up, but then you actually wake up and say it again. He's like, oh, the mouse trap and a pussy trick. He was like, I got that now. You know, he said it comically, but he was like, you know, you're going to fall down and you're going to do something stupid, but after you're going to actually, you know, you're going to see, and you're going to be like, nah, I got that now, you know, but that's how it be in the truth, to be honest. You know, the truth actually, you know, of course, you know, sometimes you got to be vulgar, you know, and to drive home certain points, but that's exactly what the scriptures be saying at certain points. When it says a woman's is a deep ditch, that's the mousetrap in the box trick, man. You know, all these tricks are all around us, and it's all being pushed out through the left hand side, and we have to know the left hand side in order to beat it. Just like we're going into Solomon the preacher. That's right. She knew good and evil.
I got a precept.
Okay, you got it.
God, this is so Ecclesiastes, or Sirach, chapter 34, verse 9. It says,
That's it right there. Huh? No, I said that's it right there. That's
a man that hath travailed knoweth many things, and he that hath much experience will declare wisdom. So the scriptures is telling you that, hey, and when you come into this truth, that you're gonna experience some stuff, but only through catching hell do you actually gain wisdom, because along this walk or whatever, you see certain things. It's like, you know, I remember this brother speaking on this. The brother had I ain't even gonna get into that. But as you go down that road, you start to see, it's like, damn, he told me this. I avoid that. You applying wisdom, because just to have the knowledge, it means nothing if you don't apply it, man. Because you catching that hell and you're not applying the wisdom. It's just you going through the fire to get burnt, to never learn anything. The Lord said, a man that has traveled knoweth many things. So you see a lot of stuff. So it's a lot of hells and stuff that you're gonna catch. But the point is, he said that he that have much experience, so a man that goes through these things and he's applying, he's actually paying attention to the things that he's going through, he applied the wisdom. It says he would declare much wisdom. So that's, you go through these things, as the brother was saying early on in the lesson, that another man may learn from your experiences. Through that much travail, it's like an old man. You want to tell somebody about what you've been through, so he can avoid those pitfalls, because that's a part of wisdom too. Why let somebody else fall in that pit when you know the hell that it took for you to come up out of it, bro?
Yeah. Exactly. And sometimes you'll get in that mindset like, damn, I just want to learn from others' mistakes. I don't want to make the mistake. I just want to see others' mistakes so I can know. But that's not life. That's not how things work, man. Yeah. You know. And of course, we all would love that you know, to be in that position, to just learn from others' mistakes and never have to make our own personal mistakes. But that's an easy walk. Yeah. That's easy territory. The Lord wants you to go through difficulties. The Lord wants you. The Lord puts a level of folly in our minds, man. Yeah. The scripture says a man in his youth, all men in their youth are given over to evil.
God.
You see, it speaks about how the creature was subject to vanity. Yeah. So you have a level of foolishness that's hardwired in your DNA. Yeah. You know, and you have to experience things, and you have to learn from your foolish and your adolescence and your childlike behaviors in order to grow up, in order to mature. You want to say something?
Just a quick point, just to back up what you were saying, because it's not like we're excluded, from being out in the world. We have, you have to work. You have to go, take care of, carnal things or certain things that you have to take care of. So you have to, basically go through these things, man. Mm-hmm. You have to, deal with our enemies. You know, we have to, you know, be tried by Satan. You know, there's certain things, you know, that's kind of is bound to happen, so to speak.
Bound to happen.
Like,
You know, so with that being said, don't because we are the light of the world, so actually be that light out there, man. Don't just walk being, you know, blind, you know, not knowing when Satan is there. Actually know when certain things are happening, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, actually look with the eyesight, the spiritual eyesight that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is giving us, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And as you grow, the traps get bigger.
Mhm.
Sometimes the Lord puts little branches in front of you just to trip up and create them booby traps. But as you grow, you know, you might be that big boy axe that's swinging back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And if you jump into it, your head is cut off, man. Because what? You knew better.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And it's coming to that point. That's the thing too about these different traps, how they build spiritual growth. But always understand that it's levels to traps too.
Mm-hmm.
Some traps you could, you know, untangle a little rope, but them bear traps,
Yeah.
that your whole, you might have to cut off. Oh, scripture says it. The right hand offend thee, cut it
Cut it
off.
off,
Because
yeah.
of what? The part of your extremity is caught up in a certain trap that you have to sacrifice a limb.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to sacrifice something that's a, you know, that is caught up in that particular
trap.
device or that trap.
Kinda.
You see?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I know you probably.
Was you done with that? What you had?
Yeah, it was a little bit more on that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And then you go ahead.
All right, it says, "He that have no experience knoweth little, but he that have travailed is full of prudence."
So it's telling you that only through experience can you actually become a prudent man. Like when brothers first come in, you know, brothers, you be a parent or whatever, but brothers ain't experienced now. And that's why you look at that man, it's like, he's just mimicking. But if a seasoned brother speak up and he's like, you know, hey, this man has went through something, it would behoove us to hear him out. So like, as the brother was saying, there's no reason for us to shy away from those experiences and those hells that Yahweh Shem Yahushua has put us through. Because who really wants to who wants to win a championship ring on the bench? If you are avoiding all the hells and the snares and the nets of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you just trying to avoid them all the time and learn from another man's mistake. That's you sitting on the bench, getting the ring, talking about I'm a champion. You didn't put up no points, man. LeBron's gonna get that glory. D Wade's gonna get that glory. You have to go through these experiences. That's why the Lord said, and
A man that experience, it says, "Man, he that have no experience knoweth little."
so there's no glory in that, man.
It says, "But he that have travailed is full of prudence." Verse 11, "I have travailed, I saw many things, and I understood more than I can express."
You can't.
So, because he had to go through those particular routes, you know. And when you think about a woman in travail, a woman catches hell when she has her different what they call
Labor pains
and things of that nature, contractions and things of that nature. That hurts, you know. So when you're going through your travails in this truth, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
It does not feel good. We all can. You can't say when I go through this, man, that shit feel good as hell, man. I love it. Nah, at the initial point, you be like, man, I'm trying to get out of this situation. And what does that do? That builds it's a certain fight or flight, where either you're gonna break through or you're gonna fold. And the Lord likes putting men in those situations. I'm gonna put him here, and I'm gonna see if he got the willpower to climb out of here. I'm gonna knock him down. He thought he was gonna get out. Boom, you right at the bottom. And some men just stay there. You know, some men be like, man, all right, I ain't climbing no more. I'm at this point because I don't want to get knocked down anymore. You know, I don't like how it feels to be on my ass and you know, crying in a hole. But sometimes you have to go through that. You have to be in that hole. You have to be in that hole, and you have to learn how to get out of it. You watch that in I forget which Batman it is, but the Batman with Bane, when Bane was in that hole with the rest of I would say, you know, the criminals, or I forget the particular organizations or whatever body of men that was in the hole with him, but you know, he had to figure out his whole reaction was how to get out of that hole, and he trained to climb out of that hole, and eventually he gained enough experience and enough wisdom to the point where he climbed out, and everybody around, and then that was the crabs in the bucket. They looked at him like he was the man. You know, and we got to be that same way. The scriptures speak about how the captive exile hasteth that he may be loose from the prison. We're climbing out of this hole, which is the system that thousands, millions are being sucked into. You see, we're moving up, and it's not. We're not getting bigger houses. That's not moving up.
Okay.
We're not getting fatter cars and badder women and more jewelry.
Okay.
It's through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. You see? It's some more?
Yeah, that's the last verse. It says, verse 12, I was oft times in danger of death, yet I was delivered because of these things. And that was because of the experiences. He said he was oftentimes in danger. So oftentimes I ran into a lion, I ran into a bear, I ran into an elephant. I ran into these things. At one point, I was running from dogs, man. But lo and behold, over time, what? You gain that experience. Okay, now I know how to move. And I shook this wolf, I shook that, or whatever. And it says, yet I was delivered because of these things, through that constant catching those hells and the Lord leveling you up in those traps and those snares or whatever, and he constantly pulling you out of them. Mm-hmm. What? The Lord said that you were delivered from these things because of the hell that you caught. Every time, every test, you played it a little bit better to be able to deliver yourself from death, man, out of danger. That's what it's about, catching that hell and learning how to deal with it and accept it. And what? You're delivered, man. Yeah. You're delivered.
It's like adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they do that sometimes with mice or primates. Mm-hmm. They'll put them in a cage, and then they'll give them like a little key or something that might not even be a key, but it might be a pin. What they call it, like
a safety pin.
It's like a safety pin or something like that, and they'll see the level of wisdom that they actually hold to get out of that cage, and they'll be surprised. You know, they are very surprised at certain results of how smart certain creatures are and how they're able to get out of certain traps that's laid. Then they'll do what? Take them out and put them in something way more complex, you know, and see if, all right, so you're able to get out of this.
Yeah.
Then they end up, you know, they might give them minimal tools, not the, you know, the easy ways. They give them something little, a little device, and see if they actually have the capacity and the capabilities to actually break out. Some don't, but some do, and we have to have that mentality to be. The littlest tool that we got, it has to be, you got to use it like a weapon, man. You know, you got to have that mindset, like a prisoner. You know, we're prisoners of the Lord, and we're prisoners in the system. And the little bit of, you know, access that we have, which the word is all the weapon that we need. You know, that's a weapon in itself. Yeah, that's enough to break out of this thing, man.
Yeah, Esau showed in his movies, man. And Rocky's not Rocky, Salaki. Rambo is a good example of that in the Expendables, because every movie it shows you these men were placed in dire situations, and they come through those dire situations. In the next movie, you would think that maybe he's gonna have an easier walk this next go around. No, he's in a worse predicament. But the reason that he has a level of understanding, a level of resolve within this next movie or this next plot and this worse situation is because he's actually he's drawing off the previous experience. He's like, yo, I got it. Now you see in Rambo, he's 70 years old, and he doing one-man army moves or whatever. He's not as quick, he's not as fast, he's not as strong. It's because of the wisdom that he has obtained over all of these missions that he's went on. It's like, yo, man, I've seen this before. I know exactly how to do it, though. I'm not as quick, I'm not as fast. I have the experience. And that's the experience through catching these hells and experiencing these things and actually reflecting and examining yourself. Do you get to a particular point? It's like, yo, I got it, man. I got it. You got it. A confidence comes with that, man. Through catching these particular hells. With experience comes that confidence as well.
That's right.
You got it?
Okay, we're gonna close with you had a scripture. Close with, if not,
nah, the spirit kind of moved. I had 1 Peter 5 and 8.
Okay.
The spirit kind of moved.
I'll get this in Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon 8.
You want me to read it for you?
Yeah, Wisdom of Solomon 8, and you can start at 6, like 6.
All right.
6.
I got it.
You got
it. Yeah. And the main point probably in 8, but yeah, you can start at 6.
Okay, it's Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 6. It says, and if prudence work, you want me to start at 5?
Yeah.
Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 5. It says, if riches be a possession to be desired in this life, what is richer than wisdom that worketh all things? And if prudence work, who of all that art is a more cunning workman than she. And if a man love righteousness, her labors are virtues, for she teacheth temperance and prudence.
See, for she teacheth temperance and prudence. Prudence is the essence of wisdom, and temperance is the balance. And you have to get that through experience. They all work hand in hand, and you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
You can't just jump to prudence and jump to temperance without experience.
God.
So you have to go through these things. That's why, even though we go into a lot of complexities about this lesson, it's still basics. These are the basics of what you go through and how they compile and help you be a more seasoned and wiser brother. When you see these Floyd Mayweathers, these top athletes and things of that nature, they're fundamentalists.
Yeah.
You be like, God damn, I'll never get to that. Like they just stuck to the basics so long. They just got great, and then they slowly built, but they always break themselves down and go right back to the fundamentals.
Yeah. God. Because in 1 Peter, it doesn't tell you to add temperance, then take it away, and then add faith, and then take faith. No, it says add to it, man. Continue to. That's growth, man. You don't get these certain characteristics or attributes and then put them away, man. No, you continue to grow with them, man. From the dirt to the top, man.
That's it.
And it says, and if a man love righteousness, her labors are virtues, for she teacheth temperance and prudence, justice and fortitude, which are such things as men can have nothing more profitable in their life. Okay. If a man desire much experience,
that's it. If a man desire much experience, and we all want a lot of experience in this life. A man's bread and butter is experience. There's nothing more valuable than a man than experience. Of course, the labor and wisdom and all these things that comes by way of experience. They all are interchangeable. But when you're amongst a Jake, that ain't experienced much, it's like, he ain't really went through nothing like that. But when you go through, there's certain Jakes that have went through a lot in life, you're like, man, I actually want to talk to him. I want to see what he went through in life. Yeah. So I could actually learn from whether his positives or his rights or his wrongs, But you can continue.
It says, if a man desire much experience, she knoweth things of old.
Which is the old wisdom, from the genesis of things all the way, to Revelations, which Revelations itself is an old book,
Yeah.
Continue.
It says, and conjureth aright what is to come. She knoweth the subtles of...
I think that's conjectureth.
Okay. Conjectureth.
I'm going to look into that through the spirit. But I was thinking if it was conjureth is basically like a form of summoning. But matter of fact, since I said that, I'm just going to look it up.
You want me to just keep... all right, go on.
Yeah, it's an opinion or conclusion formed on the basis of incomplete correction. Basically, a proposition before it has been proved or disproved. Read that part over.
It says, she knoweth of things of old, and you said conjectureth aright what is to come. She knoweth the subtles of speeches, and can expound dark sentences. She foreseeth signs and wonders and the events of seasons and times.
Right. So when it's going into conjecture aright what is to come, that's basically like an observation. Through mathematics. Seeing certain formulas, I would say, and how it goes about. That's why brothers that go through experiences, you can see what it's going to sum up to. Like, brother, you're doing this, that, and that. I see this not going to add up right.
Result.
Yeah, I can see the end result. And that's why what you go through, you have to listen to men around you too. Because men actually have a level of truth. The word math goes back to the word of math, which is true. And they could actually sum up, and ration out the in and latter things by experience that they actually personally went through, or what they heard, or what they read, or what they gathered in this truth. But was that the main?
Yeah, that was verse 8 right there.
Okay, well, yeah, that was the main thing we just wanted to go through in the spirit with brothers is to really grow from your situations. Everything you go through is not just the Lord actually just picking on you. I know all brothers don't think that way, but sometimes you're in this truth for a year or a couple months, and you just catching extreme hell, and you just feel like you a castaway. But you're getting tried, and it's for a righteous reason. The Lord is battle hardening you, and He's refining your mind and your spirit and soul.
That's right.
So we're gonna end it by giving all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, Maki.
Shalom.